Having spent the last couple of days on the relatively easy trails of the Pacific Crest Overland route, we woke up on the border of Joshua Tree National Park, ready to take on something a little tougher. But first, I had a confession to make. I forgot to show this off yesterday. Going through that canyon, there was that really narrow section. I did scrape the mirrors on there, just right on the edge. And I actually could have made it through fine. All I need to do is fold in the mirrors, but of course I'm used to the 4Runner size. You guys are all staring at me. It's making me feel really self-conscious. It's not too big of a deal. I'm sure it's the first of many scratches. I just need to be a little more careful now that I'm driving a full-size truck, especially today as we head into some of the trails of Joshua Tree. It was a short drive from our campsite down to the interstate. We took it east to the next exit and headed to Joshua Tree. We just made it up into the area of interesting rocks. So we're going to make a bunch of stops here, starting at Split Rock. Joshua Tree National Park is over 1,000 square miles in area, but you won't actually see any Joshua trees until you make it through Wilson Canyon, heading into the northwest third of the park. This area also contains most of the hikes and sites, including Split Rock and Skull Rock. Alright, we have just turned off pavement and we're heading up towards the Wall Street Mill. It's a short little hike up here. No idea what it's like, but I do like going to see old mines and old mills. So we'll check it out. The Wall Street Mill hike is an easy 2-mile round trip through the Joshua trees. Along the way are several offshoots to explore where you can visit crumbling homesteads and find old, rusted out cars. The mill was built by William Keyes in 1930 to process gold ore from his mines and other nearby mines in the Mojave Desert. It operated on and off up until 1966. We are turning on to Geology Tour Road. It's not actually the same route as the Pacific Crest Overland route. That takes you out the north of the park on Oldale Road, but I saw this on a recent trail recon video and decided I wanted to give it a go. Geology Tour Road starts off well maintained, but when you reach the start of Berdoo Canyon Road, things get a little tougher. National parks usually exaggerate the conditions of their roads, but we decided we'd go ahead and air down. While it definitely wasn't as well maintained, it started off easy enough. As we descended the canyon, the road got tougher in places. It was interesting to see the similarities in capability between the two trucks. My lifted Tundra and the Tremor with stock suspension were very evenly matched. traction control in the Tundra is definitely better, and I didn't need the rear locker, but the Tremor makes up for it with much better suspension travel and was still able to get through the hardest obstacle with its rear locker engaged. Stock versus stock, the Tremor would have easily won, and it's not even a fair match. Nick's Tremor cost several thousand less than my Tundra did. So we have just made it out of the national park and out of the canyon, and that was a lot of fun. That's probably some of the toughest stuff I've done in the Tundra now, and I really enjoyed it. I definitely need to get rock sliders though, especially when I'm gonna do more stuff like that. So now, like I say, we're out of the national park, and I want to be really clear that the gate is just around the corner there, because I recently had someone commenting on one of my videos who was furious, saying I was flying inside the national park. He's going to report me to the National Park Service and to the FAA and, you know, all the right people. Except, like I say, I wasn't flying in the national park. I do pay a lot of attention to these roads, where they go, whether they're inside or outside. And of course, they all eventually go out of the national park, so I wait until we're outside the national park. We're back on highway. Unfortunately, Nick and Jessica had to leave us. They've got to go home. Andreas and I are continuing on. We're going to keep going north. Right now we're going around Joshua Tree up to Joshua Tree, the town, to try and find a place to camp that hopefully is sheltered because it is ridiculously windy. The first spot I had picked out to camp last night ended up being out in the middle of some plains just north of Joshua Tree and was really windy. So we decided to head a little further north, and we're up here in the Mojave National Preserve now, and we saw this little road that came out and dead-ended next to some hills on the map, and came out here. Ended up being really sheltered, so it was a great little spot. Unfortunately, you aren't allowed to fly drones here either. It's not a national park, but it is administered by the National Park Service, so no drones anywhere here. That's okay. Got my camera, got my gimbal, got some GoPros. We'll still get some good footage as we head north further into the preserve and check out some of the sights on the Mojave Road. we have just reached the Mojave Road. So we're picking up, and we're picking up about halfway along, but this is where, from here, where all the cool sights are to see. And I'm kind of relieved to be off that back road that follows those power lines. The Mojave Road is a historic route that's been used for centuries for Native Americans, explorers, settlers, and traders to cross the Mojave Desert between distant water sources. Most of the road is fairly easy, just requiring high clearance, but the terrain makes it slow going. Today, it takes about 3 days to complete the 150-mile route. Along the way, there are plenty of stops, like the Mojave mailbox.
I wonder if there's any mail.
Yeah, take a look.
Oh, there's a book. You can sign your name.
Go for it.
Oh, there's candy too. Oh, and a little guitar.
Go on, give us a tune.
You may have to edit this a little bit, make it sound better.
Okay.
That's so cool. Oh, this was just put in here on Sunday. If you get hungry, if you need a mask up here. Yeah, monster truck. Here's a pen.
Alright, go on, sign us in. I've decided that rather than sticking my sticker to the outside of the mailbox, I'm going to put them in the mailbox. That way if you come up here in the next few weeks or months or, I don't know, however long, you can help yourself. As you head west from the mailbox, the terrain gets more and more volcanic. A short drive from the Mojave Road, surrounded by cinder cones, are some ancient lava tubes.
That's really cool.
There's not much headroom. Oh wow, but it opens up. Check this out. If you end up following our tracks on Patreon, then don't, or at least not exactly. As you come across the Mojave Road, there's a bit between a couple of mountains where the road's got lots of splits in it. It's very windswept, and unfortunately we made the wrong choice on one of the splits, ended up going off track, following other people's tracks, end up turning around, going back to the proper Mojave Road, which brings you down here to Soda Lake, the very windy Soda Lake. This is kind of a not so flat salt flat, and if it has rained at all within the last few weeks, if you come out here, don't come out onto the flats because you will sink into it and get stuck. We talked to a couple that we passed a couple hours ago, and they said that it's actually fine today, but you definitely want to stick to the road because if you step off, it gets really sinky. Like, I'm sinking into it just walking on it. Halfway across the salt flats is Traveler's Monument. People bring rocks from all over the US to add to the pile and read the commemorative plaque that it hides. If you want to know what the plaque says, I guess you'll have to visit for yourself. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what we get up to next time.